I have absolutely nothing against hugging. I just came from an event in Las Vegas where the guy that was on ahead of me had everybody touch fingers with the person next to them and say something personal they always wanted to say but were afraid to say it. And about half the group got up and walked out. And on our way to the airport, he was with me and he said, "Tim, what did I do wrong?" And I said, "Carl, you got to know your audience." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, these are truck drivers. They're more comfortable with pull my finger rather than touch my finger." And I told him that people today are not looking for what I call Peter Pan advice. This don't worry, be happy. Folks need to understand that there's a scientific basis for what you're going to talk about, and it has to be something that's universal because all of our audiences today are, in fact, global audiences and extremely diverse. Laughter unites us. It brings us together. It creates a common bond when almost nothing else will work. And we all smile and laugh in the same language. It brings us together. It's fun. And it's something that even when people are upset, the more they laugh, the more they come together. And the quicker they become a group, open to learning, talking with each other, and connecting. This ability to smile and laugh in the same language, I've used this all over the world, and it will work whether it's in Texas, Tasmania, or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to do with telling jokes. You don't have to tell a joke to use humor. You have to just understand, humor is simply the combining of ideas that aren't normally associated with one another, and there are tools that you can implement almost immediately to celebrate life. And these two words can save your life. Two words can save your life. They're very simple. Bummer. Say it with me. Bummer. When something bad happens, you put your hand right here and you go, bummer, and let it go. Ready? Bummer. Let it go. When something good happens, you celebrate it and you go, woohoo. Try that. Sometimes you just do it in your mind. I mean, when a beautiful woman sits next to me on the airplane, I don't go, woohoo. Not anymore. I've discovered that as I go through my day, it's going to be a series of what? And what? And with a little work, I can take the what and turn it into what? It's not, as a great philosopher Britney Spears said, it's not rocket surgery. It's not complicated. It's just something that anybody can do, and you need reinforcement. And so I use these accessories, I call them. They're little things that help people remember to use humor. I don't know why these little itty-bitty chickens are so funny, but they are. I checked into a hotel. I got married here recently. My wife came with me. I extended an extra day to the conference so that we could have a spa day together. And when I checked in, I found out that when I rebooked the room, they had rebooked my rate. So it went from $150 a night to $250. And that's a what? That's a bummer. And I said to the lady behind the counter, there must be something we can do. And she said, there's nothing we can do. My hands are tied. And I reached in my pocket to go pull out some little itty-bitty chickens. And she said, you cannot bribe me. And I said, before you say anything, you might want to see what I have. And she goes, sir, you cannot bribe me. And I just kind of slowly slid them across the table. And I turned my hand over and she saw those little itty-bitty chickens. And she wanted them really badly. And she goes, I don't know. And I knew I had her. And I said, now before you say anything else, and I reached into my pocket and I just took out one more. I said, let me sweeten the pot just a little bit more. I ended up getting the room for $80 a night. The employee rate. Woohoo! These are what I call connectors. They're humor connectors. And I don't throw them to anybody. We hand them. We create ancillary touch. We, in fact, connect with people, and there are so many different ways that you can do this. This is mental floss. When I talk about change, about things that are different, don't talk about paradigm shifts. Talk about mental floss. You just put it on like this, and you can floss out all of the situational stressors that are out there. And I know some of you are saying, Tim, did you bring any more of those? Do you like freebies? If you talk to me today, you will get free. Work with me, people. I write this stuff. Some of you think these are corny, but I carry these with me wherever I go. When I check into a hotel, I want an upgrade to a suite for free. Why? Why not? If they have suites, why not put me in one? And I'll say to them, do you have any freebies? And they'll go, no. And I'll go, then these are for you. Next thing you know, I'm in a suite. Woohoo! So whenever you hear say, Tim, did you bring any more of those? First people that raise their hand usually get things for free. Oh, Peggy wants one of those really badly. But I have all kinds of free stuff up here. And I guarantee you, when you look at these things, they may seem funny, but there's a science behind it. Compassion fatigue, burnout, stress is all around us, the possibility. But here's the thing, stress isn't what happens to us. Stress is based on our perception of what happens to us. And we can change our perception and create a different reality simply by choice. And we focus in on those negative things all the time and we get locked into it. And instead of focusing on the negative, we look at a positive with humor. I talked for a group where they had a lot of crabby people at a call center. That was their trigger word, crabby people. You have crabby people? Crabby people. And it brought negative results every time. So we have to, using mirror neurons in the brain, we have to switch this over. So I came up with these. These are cubicle crabs. You can just kind of, are we being a little crabby today? I'm talking to you. And so from then on, whenever somebody used the word crabby, what did it do? It triggered a positive reaction, and the positive feeling keeps going. Again, it's not rocket surgery. According to new research, writing down your negative thoughts and throwing them in the trash can help a bad mood. I tried it, I'm happier, but I really miss my iPad. It's not even enough that I'm funny on stage. I write things like this for my customers. I just wrote this as a promo for a company, a paper company that's looking at hiring me. I want the person introducing me and the other people to be able to find the humor too. It's all about sharing and connecting. And it's about using humor as a business skill to bring people together to create a common bond. I've watched audiences that start laughing, and if I'm doing a full-day event, the group starts sitting closer and closer together. It brings people together automatically. This was my first business card, picture of my pride and joy. Now, I didn't invent that. Henny Youngman invented it, but did people want my business card? You betcha. So I thought maybe something else out there, so I came up with a picture of my kids. Two baby billy goats are kids. And so I thought I need to take this one step up. And so I came out with this. When somebody says, when I check in a hotel, they say, what's your name? Do you have a reservation? Do you have a what? Major credit card. So I had these made up. On the front it says, this is a major credit card. And they'll look me right in the eye and they'll say, do you have some other form of ID? And if you turn the card over on the back, it says, here is some other form of identification. Now, do they laugh every time they see this at the hotel? No. I don't care. I can't wait to show it to them. I can't wait to check into that property. I check into hotels all the time. And yet I'm out there telling the Uber driver, come on, we got to get in there. They've never seen this before. One of the first times I use it, I go to check in a hotel. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Hi, Tim Gard checking in, young man behind the counter. I'm his worst nightmare. I'm ready to play. He's the only human available. Hi, Tim Gard checking in. He looks at me and goes, name? Still Tim Gard. Do you have a reservation? Yes, I do. And he said, sir, I'm going to need to see a major credit card. I said, I got one. I was hoping you'd ask because I got one. And he takes the card and he looks at it and he doesn't know what to do. You know, and he'd been trained to ask for help, you know, and there's nobody there. He does it anyway, you know. And he goes, sir, I don't know what to do. And I said, if it were me, this is just me, but if it were me, I would ask for some other form of identification. And he says, do you have some other form of, woohoo! Now here's the thing with these. They're not going to laugh every time you see them. They're not going to laugh every time you show them to somebody, but you're going to laugh every single time you think of it. And what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to create something in the brain that allows us to look at the positive and not take the negative things and let that become an obsession. I'm going to have fun, and quite frankly, nobody's going to stop me. And I want this for you too. And I think the more we do it, the easier it becomes. It is not about telling jokes. It's about stopping when something stressful happens, stepping back and looking at it just a little bit differently, and we find the humor. There are always going to be stressful things. I was at Denver, on my way out to the airport. It's 5 o'clock. The cab driver is angry. And I said, what's the matter? And he said, traffic, 5 o'clock. How long have you been doing this? 35 years. I said, I don't know how to tell you this, but it's going to be like this again tomorrow. If these things cause you stress, don't set yourself up to fail. We want to be able to find the humor all around us. And the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. I guarantee it. I did a program for a group of HR folks that said they just needed a few seconds to themselves. They needed to refresh and renew. And so I invented these. These are called Don't Bug Me glasses. If you put these on, people will leave you alone. And I know some of you are saying, Tim, did you bring any more of those? These two people had their head. There you go. It's not rocket surgery. I want this for you. And the more, like I say, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's funny, listening to other speakers, you know, we hear this all the time that we can't do something because it's our policy. And I say, use policy positively. I heard this so much, I came up with my own policy manual. If it's in writing, it has to be true. So I thought I'll come up with my own policy manual. People would tell me it's not policy. I ask them to show it to me because there's a lot of policy folklore. Don't you agree? They're not written anywhere. It's just what people tell you. On the front of my policy manual, it says, my policy manual, I grant you the power to serve me. On the back, where my picture is, you can put your own picture over that. And your photo right just says me. I like to use his when I'm traveling. It just says me on it. But the very first time I use it, I go to check in a hotel and they go, Mr. Gard, we're really sorry. All we have left are smoking rooms. And I said to the guy, I don't have any cigarettes. You know, I can't help you. And we don't have to smoke. Oh, no. If you're in a smoking room, you are required to smoke. And I said, do you have any non-smoking suites? Yes, sir, we do, but they're $150 more per night. Now, I know I can't pass that cost on to my customer, right, Susan? So I said, can you upgrade me to a non-smoking suite at no cost since you gave away my non-smoking room? And they said, no, our policy is we don't upgrade based on smoking preference. So I put up my policy manual to page 17, and I read to them, if I request and reserve a non-smoking room at any hotel and that property then gives my non-smoking room away to another guest prior to my arrival, then said hotel is required by law to upgrade me to a non-smoking suite at no additional cost to me, no exceptions. And I look over and the other clerk's telling the first clerk, it's right there. He's not kidding. And she said, I don't know what to do. And I said, my hands are tied. I mean, once policy has been evoked, it is a runaway train. And she said, you need to talk to the manager. So I opened up my policy manual to page 22, and I read, once I verbalize my policy to any employee at any level, I'm then forbidden by policy to repeat the policy verbally in writing to anyone else, no exceptions. I slept in the presidential suite that night. The non-smoking presidential suite, I might add. And if somebody tells me, I had a waitress say she refused to seat us until the entire dining party had arrived, so I hand wrote this in my policy, that if I'm the first of several friends to arrive at a restaurant and the greeter refuses to seat me until the entire dining party has arrived, I'll be provided free of charge any substance I eat or drink during the time the table is withheld, no exceptions. And she looked at me and she said, I just saw you write that in that book. So I turned to the section that authorizes me to write new and updated policies as needed. And she looked at me and she said, you win. And I said, I don't want to win, I just want to have fun. And if I can have fun with them, so much the better. And if somebody tells me no, I can actually go and there's a page that just says yes. If you have children, you go to page 33, it says, because I say so, over and over and over. And if you want to win an argument, if you just go in the back, there's charts and graphs. You don't even need anything on the charts and graphs. You just need to be charts and graphs. I can make them into anything I want. And I'll tell people, if I'm not satisfied, if I don't get my way, I may not be satisfied. I'll only be 20% satisfied. If I get my way, I could be up to 100% satisfied, which in the quarterly chart on the left shows is clearly best for me. And I've had them look at me and go, well, that makes sense, Mr. Gard. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I just want to have fun. And this is what I want to share with my audiences, with you. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's that we just need to learn to look at things differently and enjoy work and home more. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I? State your name. Promise to use my comic vision every day. I'll have fun. I'll use humor for myself. And I'll share it. Hi, sign. I hope to hear from you all very soon.